Hi, Rob Younger here for week 8 for Bean Bibs. We conducted 5 guru interviews and 10 customer interviews this week. And what we found is that we validated our hypothesis that social media connections are very important for our customer segment, and online reviews play a key part in individuals' brand determination, as do recommendations from friends and the service persons within local bike shops. So building brand advocacy is something that's important that we had hypothesized and that we'll have to do on a go forward. Potentially sponsor some athletes and or clubs and maybe even some organized rides. We validated that local bike shops are a channel that is going to be important for us, as is direct internet sales. And we saw that the average price point that we have hypothesized is in line, but we did receive some variation high and low in terms of that price point. So it's something that we'll need to evaluate more deeply as we go forward in future weeks. So this week, not a lot has changed with our hypothesis, but the one thing that we were able to validate is that purchases are predominantly made through local bike shops where individuals like to touch and feel the fabrics, and this is in particular of importance for first-time purchases. So secondary and subsequent purchases may be able to take place more in an online environment, but for an initial purchase, a touch and feel is important for the majority of customers. So we asked a lot of Likert scale questions this week, more than last week. We also did some open-endeds as well to try to gather some additional data and feedback. We're really looking to figure out our distribution channels and validate if the ones that we've hypothesized as being the ones to pursue are correct, and what the purchase preferences are for customers. We were focusing on learning customer shopping preferences and some price durability information. So with that, what we were able to find is that customers are very, very interested in purchasing through online merchants like Amazon, but also the local bike shop is still an area of particular importance and one that we will need to utilize in order to scale this business. Other online retailers seem to be important to gurus, but less so to the customers that we interviewed this week. And big box stores, conversely, were not important to gurus, but were an area that customers seem to value. And so this is something that we'll need to evaluate in subsequent weeks to pinpoint if this is small sample set error or if there really is a variance here between the two groups. So customers and gurus did have that little bit of conflicting information, but again, local bike shop and Amazon were by far preferred as we found through our data. Brand preference and style of bib is something that is a strong driver of purchase. Recommendations from friends and online recommendations are used for affirmation in order to make a purchase decision. And leg gripper elastic and fabric feel came out as being very important for both groups, as did brand reputation. Variance in terms of product-specific features were things like pad thickness and the material used to actually construct the pad in the bibs, as well as the elimination of waistband elastic. Brand familiarity was very important to the non-guru set, and the compression benefits that would be available from a particular style of bib was more important to the customer set in this particular week. The overall transdermal properties of the bean bib and the natural odor reduction properties were both areas where customers were very likely to make a purchase based on the bib having that feature present within it. So that was great to validate. The previous week, we validated some demographic data around our target market, and that came in handy to help us to further create hypothesis around pricing, and we were able to see here that on average 2 pair of bibs are purchased annually by each of our customers and gurus, and the average purchase price was around $125, although there was some variance on that, so there might be some need for further study in future weeks. We also were able to validate the attributes we talked about just a moment ago, and the recommendability is a very, very important feature that we're going to need to concentrate on in the future as we do marketing for the product. So we're still a go. Next week we get to do some marketing campaign work and some budgeting and forecasting, and we're looking forward to it. Thanks a lot.